Oh, it has to be a tapped creature. Interesting. That keeps... Oh, but do you discard? That is a very vulnerable position to be in if you elect to do it. They don't. They've just wasted it. What is their other... They are gone. All right. Misplays on the opponent part. We will take that. Hello and welcome back to the Florida Men Gaming. My name is Furion and today we're going to be playing Magic the Gathering Arena. You're going to notice a slightly different start screen here as we are looking to do our end of season dash, trying to make it up to as high as we can get in the current season before it wraps up in the next day and a half or so here. What we're looking at for our deck assortment that you'll see in the gameplay is a series of decks that we've had some success with throughout the course of the season. One of them being Out of the Darkness. This one is a standard mod. This one has not performed as well for us, so you're going to see a few games from that. The next one that you're going to see in today's video is Enchant's Tribal. We had a long little skid there with the standard modification to Out of the Darkness and have elected to switch it up. But we're going to just put a bunch of games together for you, let you enjoy the ride. Once we get probably a video or two out of this, enough footage to run with, then we'll have a quick discussion about a season in review like we did last season, see how we did, what mistakes we might have made, what kind of pacing changes we should have looked at to get us further along than where we ended up. But with that, we're excited to get you right into the gameplay, not going to waste any time. We will have copies of the page here linked, so that way if you want to explore the deck list that we've been playing, you can just kind of scroll through the untapped.gg profile and select any one of these decks down below. So with that, we are excited to see you in the footage. We have an opponent coming up against the Kyle wearing the Thibble-Thwipped avatar. And this is a somewhat slow but decent starting hand. We're going to go ahead and keep and see where this takes us. Woodland Chasm down tapped as we don't have a 1-drop anyway. And since the opponent has made no immediate moves and is showing a color that we might struggle with, we're going to go ahead and Poison the Cup Foretell. This could be some variation on a mono-white aggro build, which is not something that I'm too worried about if that's the case. That is not what I was hoping to see, though. Let's go ahead and play down the Graveyard Trespasser. And we'll let the opponent make the next move. Hopefully it is not another Skyclave Apparition. It is another Skyclave Apparition! Alright! Well, the opponent's going to have to discard for that, so at least it's not all for naught. One more black land and we're going to nuke their creatures. Interesting. Looks like they could be playing a party deck. Cemetery Prowler, that is a good pickup. It's a little bit bigger body-wise, so that will be good for us. And we can now start reducing creature cost. Do they have the third Skyclave Apparition? Probably. No, Luminarch Aspirant. I can live with that. I'll let them get through that bit of damage, but then we're going to Poison the Cup and take it out. And there's another land. So let's go ahead and start rebuilding our board here. Go ahead and continue to eat away at their graveyard. Opponent has plenty of life at the moment, so they're probably not too worried here. Oh, but we get another token. So unless they have a board wipe immediately available, we're going to actually be in pretty good defensive position. There's another intrepid adversary, gonna pump the field. Fortunately for us, we have a Blizzard Brawl. And a Graveyard Trespasser to have a little bit of fun. We're going to go ahead and take that instant so that we now have the Infernal Grasp available at 1 mana. And we are now climbing back into this. Let's see what the opponent has for us next. We have the Infernal Grasp ready to go. On the off chance that they decide to eliminate our Cemetery Prowler, we're going to go ahead and take some preemptive action. They can't do it to the Trespasser. Interesting. Opponent is now down to 19 with 2 cards available. Another Wandering Emperor. Do they go after the Cemetery Prowler? Oh, it has to be a tapped creature. Interesting. That keeps... Oh, but do you discard? That is a very vulnerable position to be in if you elect to do it. They don't. They've just wasted it. What is their other... They are gone. All right. Misplays on the opponent part. We will take that gain. The Diamond Dash continues. Alright, we have our next opponent, Cross Kogetsu. And we have a terrible opening hand. Not great, but more doable. Opponent does go first. I'll probably end up dumping the Wild Shape because we can foretell the Poison the Cup. And we want to hold on to that Howlpack Piper, so if we get a nighttime flip with her, we can get into a really good position, assuming, of course, we ever get the mana to get her down to the board. Opponent is showing a Spikefield Cave first. That is slightly worrisome. Could be Izzet. There's Izzet colors. Are they holding a counterspell? We'll have to test the waters and see. There is Priority Stick, but we get it down. If they Fading Hope the token, that's less than ideal, but... And I think that's what's coming. Nope, they let it go. Okay, this, I think I know what we're dealing with now. This will probably end up being the Jeskai Hinata, which means this next turn will probably be Hinata to the board. Salundi Vision. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal an instant or sorcery card. So if we see Magma Opus, we know that this is the Salundi Vision. Oh, interesting. They're probably going to try and... It's target artifact, not enchantment, so the Ranger class is safe for the moment. Probably going to lose this Pack Song Pup as soon as it resolves. Okay, they didn't elect to kill it. We'll take the little wins where we can get them. Now, are they going to block for the damage or give us the life gain? They are going to take the damage stop. Really starving for that mana, by the way. If anyone was wondering, I am looking for that mana. Goldspan Dragon to the board. Okay, we are in standards, so Poison the Cup will create a treasure for them. Blizzard Brawl will create a treasure for them. Well, at this point, we don't have much else that we can properly do here. I can't believe we have gone this long without seeing mana. Went from a 2 black to a bad draw to now trying to race a Goldspan Dragon, which is never a good bet. And they now have more mana than anyone would ever know what to do with. I suspect we will see a Hullbreaker Horror on this next turn. Oh yay, tapped land. That's exactly what we needed. We're going to go ahead and try and bait out the Horror. If they elect to play for the block, we will hit the Poison the Cup on it as soon as it comes down. They're letting it go. We're going to hold up the Wild Shape, see if we can't protect this Pack Song Pump for another turn. Unexpected Windfall. And again, just the biggest heap of mana you've ever seen. The Air Disciple of the Drowned. Okay. Can't be countered. Come on, opponent. Fading Hope. They have protected successfully the Lier. But that means they've burnt a big portion of their turn here just trying to get it down. And now they've burnt a significant portion of the treasure wealth they've been accumulating. Alright, that is something to be grateful for. Let's go ahead and Blizzard Brawl the Lier. And we'll pop a Wild Shape, so unless they have another Fading Hope, we're going to take that Lier away from them. Come on, opponent. This is your time to make a decision. Lundy Vision. Digging deep again, seeing I guess if they can find another Fading Hope potentially. Ooh, Alchemist's Gambit. So that means we effectively are going to lose this game this turn, because the opponent will be able to go all the way home. And unfortunately I have no way to sacrifice that Pack Song Pup and regain the health, so they don't even have to do anything but just play it. And they get 2 bites at the apple. So unfortunately, while we had a better showing than I expected with no mana for most of this match, the opponent is still going to pull it out on the back of a turns deck. And since they can't seem to figure out how to finish a game, we're going to leave. Alright, we have our next opponent, Octata. Once again, a very scary keep if we decide to go with this. The opponent does go first. I don't want to take the chance with what we saw last match. We're going to go ahead and take a mulligan and see if we get something a little better for our situation. Not great. Go ahead and bin a Blizzard Brawl and really hope that we draw anything. Opponent showing white, showing life gain. That is, well, we'll be able to make something happen. So, but at the rate which they're going to gain, we're going to be in some trouble. Ooh, interesting. Really wishing I kept that other Blizzard Brawl. Do they have a 1-drop to follow it? Another Cleric class, so they're going to get double Spirit. And we are now drawing all the mana we could ever want. Kind of curious about the Cleric classes, as we have yet to see any life gain engines come out from their board. That is a good card. We're going to go ahead and Serulf, hit the Clarion Spirit with the Blizzard Brawl, and swing on home with start the creature reduction. And we can actually on the next turn wipe all of their enchantments off the board along with the spirits. So now we're in excellent position, pending some very big move on their part. Another Clarion Spirit. We are now in really good position. Goodbye. You say goodbye. I say hello. Hello, hello. Let's go ahead and give ourselves some sorcery speed magic, and we'll see if we can't take away one or two of those spirits. Alright, the opponent lets it through. Do they have double spell? They don't have the cleric classes anymore, or their spirit tokens from a moment ago. So whatever they thought was a race is more tilted in our favor currently. But it's all going to depend on these next few drops. Did they pick up a bomb? Well, they don't like Serulf, that's for sure. And to be fair, I wouldn't either after that display. Let's go ahead and activate this, see if we can't draw something a little more intriguing. Oh, I love this game. Sometimes. Let's go ahead and give them something to think about. The sad part for them is the next moment here is going to be the nighttime flip. Now they have to make some choices. Big hits coming in. They're going to double block our creature reduction, but that doesn't much matter if we have a Howl Pack on the board. And now they can't remove anything because the whole field is hexproof. There's Redain. At this point, just prolonging the inevitable. Oh, and you need a double spell. Oh, that's going to be a costly mistake for the opponent here. This is a big hit no matter what you do. You're going to have to chump the 2 8/8s, but I don't see any path to redemption here unless you've got a Doomscar up your sleeve. Opponent down to 1. Is this Doomscar? No, it isn't. It is a scoop, ladies and gentlemen. We powered through mono white with possibly the most confusing strategy and playline I've ever seen. Alright, our next opponent is up to bat. And we finally have a keepable hand. It only took a couple games to get it, but when you get it, you are grateful for it. We're going to play our tapped land on 1, untapped on 2 Ranger class, and then on turn 3 we're going to start going in with Serulf. And this is going to be a very critical game that we need to move quickly on based on that Generous Visitor. We will very quickly get outscaled if we are not paying close attention. Okay. Let's go ahead and get the Serulf on the board and see if we can't bait out a trade. If we can start the Serulf growing, we'll have the opportunity to start wiping their field. I have a strong feeling, though, we're going to start seeing enchantments like the Circle of Confinement come down. So that's not what we want. We're going to really need to draw into some really good cards here to have any kind of chance to pull this one out. This will be a good start, as the ward will be critical to helping us get back on track. We're going to go ahead and hold back, prepare to block something. Hallowed Haunting, that is not good for us. Do they elect to go all in on the Kami? Interesting. Now, do they swing? They don't. Okay. We can play with that. We're in a very dangerous position at the moment, but it is recoverable. We're a handful of cards away in our deck from being in a spot where we can start regaining some of our card advantage. And by card advantage, I mean grabbing things like the Outland Liberator. That is going to be a setback for sure, though. We now have enough, though, to block the Kami down. I'm happy to let 3 damage through to get the Kami off the board. And that is going to be terrifying, as this is probably a lethal swing. We no longer have enough to block the Kami. We're going to go ahead and try and eat some of this, limit it to a 5 damage swing on our face. What we really need now is going to be one of our removal spells. And we don't draw it. Well, we can trade with the Spirit here if they elect to take it. Nope, they're just going to chump, and we're going to lose. No need to spend any more time here. This is a blitz. We have another opponent. This is a keepable hand. And the opponent goes first. So they lead off with a tapped mana, giving us an opportunity here. Showing Golgari colors to start. Alright, green, black, and white, they are going enchantments, so we will counter that with some enchantments of our own. Namely, you don't get to lower your cost for a minute. Okay. Us, on the other hand, are going to take advantage of our current situation and drop in the Ranger class. Opponent, of course, could have their own exile or isolation spells that could limit our ability to do certain things. Playing a tapped land is an interesting call. Alright, and a second wedding announcement hits the board. That is good for them, and we draw a land, which is excellent for us, as we can now start doing some very scary things with the Hallowed Haunting. Oh, and the Michiko's Reign of Truth for the next turn to follow up the second Hallowed Haunting is going to put us in a very scary position. The opponent may not have a way to answer it, although they will have a presence here in a moment that will be a little intimidating. Borrowed Time. There goes the Hallowed Haunting. Fortunately for us, we have a second. If we draw our own Borrowed Time, which we didn't, we would have a better answer. Alright, big 8-8 coming in. Now we can afford to let some damage through as we are outscaling them on the life gain. A third wedding announcement. This opponent has wedding announcements for days. It's now time to put a threat worth capturing onto the board. Opponent is now down to 1. Do they have a board wipe? If not, we might have this game in hand. Economy of Transients. We're going to go ahead and take all of it. And by take all of it, I mean block all of it and give ourselves a massive health boost. They're going to draw 3 cards off of that. And this game is effectively over. Because the opponent is letting us finish it out, we're going to give them just a little love tap. And they're gone. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a win, one we've been desperately looking for. Alright, we have our next opponent, and the worst hand I've seen to start off a match in a long time. They do go first. We'll probably have to, well, keep it. Only because of the Turn Timber Symbiosis. We'll have both colors we need to get the Naturalist down, and that will allow us to start playing some of our enchantments pretty quickly here. It looks like we could be playing Wolves. Opponent leads with red and an Iron Apprentice. Alright, Elganjo, Seat of the Empire, that is actually excellent for us. We'll be able to get that down on time, play the Naturalist, and then see what they're doing here. Patchwork Automaton. Okay, this looks like an artifacts deck. Those can scale pretty quickly, and this could get out of control before we have a chance to really get any kind of momentum going. But that's a risk we knew we were going to take when we kept this first hand. Alright, Experimental Synthesizer. Patchwork Automaton getting bigger. And another Synthesizer that got exiled, so Patchwork Automaton is going to be intimidating, to say the least. Thank goodness that Play with Fire came in when it did, as it would have knocked us out pretty quickly here. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take the Iron Apprentice. I'm not going to let them get those counters over to their Automaton, and we'll start generating chump blockers with the Wedding Announcement. Next turn we will be able to Hallowed Haunting, then we'll double Ranger class, and we'll be officially out of gas in that moment. They've got synthesizers for days. They picked up a land off that though, so good for them. Do they have anything else to follow it up with? Another Iron Apprentice. And possibly some removal. Voltage Surge, okay, so there goes the Jukai Naturalist, and that sets us back in a big way. Alright, depending on how many cards they play down here, we have enough to potentially kill the Automaton. Alright, well that is not... Oh, that's an artifact creature. Okay. Well, there goes their 6/6. That is a big deal. Although I do believe it gets returned to their hand here, so It's less than ideal, but it does reset their counters, and that gives us a chance to get back in this. It took a lot of time and effort to get that creature up to where it was. Rabbit battery, so that's another artifact creature. Gonna start repumping the patchwork. Do they elect to attach it to anything? They don't. Okay, Hallowed Haunting down. The next Hallowed Haunting is going to be a big deal. We may elect to commune with spirits this next turn if they hold back an attack. Kamanu faces Kakazan, so they're going to still continue to harass and put some damage through. Another rabbit battery, so now the automaton is big enough to trade. Okay, that's a land. That is critical. Let's go ahead and see if we can't draw. Oh, those are good draws. Okay. So, wedding announcement to continue to trigger some chump blockers and start the countdown clock again. Hallowed Haunting on the next turn. Circle of Confinement would have been nice, but it's a little harder to get that mana out correctly. We're playing a dangerous game with this opponent, as they have some very powerful creatures already on board. But by this next turn, we will have 7 enchantments, and everything we have will be vigilant and over the top of what they've got going on. They may realize that, they may not. Looks like they're gearing up for an all-in. Do they swing? They're taking their time. They let it go. Alright, opponent is down to 4. We are flying and vigilant, and we have everything we could want at this moment. Enough creatures big enough to get in the way of what they've got coming. So, we just have to take it where we can. This will be a moment of truth on trades. Royal Eruption, so they're going to depower our spirit. But that's okay, all we have to do is chump. And we don't have to chump that much. Another Royal Eruption, now they're out of gas. This is going to have to be their big swing. I'm going to go over the top of them no matter what. Do they see it? They must see it. Okay. So, chump. Chump. Take. Take. And we will eat the rest of the damage and swing on home with 4 damage for the win. Go ahead and hit him with the GG. Give him a nice even 0, not rub it in, and we'll take that win. Green-white enchantments continuing to show up for us when we need it the most, bouncing us back from our losing streak there, getting us back up into Plat 3 as we try this Dash for Diamond, the end of season run, to see if we can't touch the peak. Alright.